Hello, welcome to this week's Freya Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about what is my purpose? What is my big why? Why am I here? What am I meant to do on this planet Earth? And I wanted to speak a bit about how I discovered that in my life, how I'm still discovering that in my life. Like, this is an ongoing thing. So when people ask me, I don't really know why I'm here or what I'm meant to do. Like, what is my purpose? What am I here to fulfill while I'm here on this planet? And for a long time, I had no idea what that was for me either. And it actually is something that changes and that I adjust to align in this new version of myself that is constantly becoming in my life. And the best way, like when you have no idea, when you don't know who you are, what you want, the first thing to do is really to get to know yourself. I'll say how this started for me. I had a very anxious personality. I was diagnosed with anxiety at the age of 13. I was also very codependent in my relationships, and I would always need to be with someone to feel happy, to feel safe. Yeah, I needed someone to be there by my side. And I was in a relationship because I was constantly in relationships. I think I was single for a year, and I did take a moment before meeting my partner now, take a couple months of just like really sitting with myself in my loneliness and moving through that. That was a really big help. Not a really big help, but really what my soul needed in order to be who I am today. And it's funny because I attracted a partner who isn't there most of the time. And I find that that's really interesting because I think I needed that. Well, I know I needed that. So yeah, my partner right now works up north. So he's gone 19 days and comes back either 6 to 9 days. And so we're only together during those days. Life brought me the exact person that I needed in order to grow into the woman that I am, and to let go of these tendencies, codependent tendencies that I had that I'm still working through. But it's very empowering to be on this journey and to have the beauty to do this with someone who understands and who sees me in that and who makes me feel safe to experience all this healing. And so before being with my current boyfriend, I was with another person, and this was in my past, and this person just looked at me, and we were in the car, we were at IGA, and I still remember the exact moment. And I was just like, I was complaining because I felt like I didn't really have any quality time with him, or we never did really things that were fun. I was craving like going for hikes and like doing beautiful things together as a couple, like going to play tennis, whatever, just like having fun together, It was like we were stuck as roommates and just like living our lives in front of the TV or at night and like watching Netflix. And it wasn't inspiring for me to do that anymore. And I wanted to do something fun. So I was like, why don't we do something fun? Why don't we go do this? And so I was telling him this, and he was just like, I just want to like watch my sports. And I was like, okay, cool. And he told me, what do you like to do? What do you like to do when you're alone? And that question was the biggest mirror of my life in that moment. That was a while ago, like almost 9-10 years ago. He was like, I feel like you don't know what to do when you're alone. You have no passions, you have no interests. All you want to do is be with me and do things. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's so right. But in that moment, I was so triggered. I was like, that's not true. Okay, I'm going to show you that I don't need you. And very in my ego. And 10 years from now, I think it was 9 or 10 years ago, I realized that there was so much truth in what he said. And in that moment, I remember thinking, I have no idea and the first thing that came to my mind in those days was like, I like to drink wine and talk with people and like social events. Like that was the thing that came up the first, because that was the only thing I really did And it wasn't even that I did alone. I would do with other people. I would never really drink wine alone. Now understanding what came up in that moment was I wanted connection. I wanted to have fun with people, to connect, to experience things. And when you drink, you have more deep conversation. At least girls do. We just go deeper into subjects when we're drinking. And I love that. I love that so much. I loved hearing people without a filter and just going deep. And that was a part of me that really loved drinking. It was like the connection that I was able to have. And I guess it was the connection that I was able to show, because when I would drink, I would be more confident to speak and to say things and to laugh and to be like who I am. This was my realization as I sat in the car, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what I love anymore. I don't know what I love. There's nothing that I like to do that comes up right now. I had to sit with myself and let it in, because I was lost. I was so disconnected from myself. I had no idea who I was. From that moment on, this is when I started rediscovering myself. And that was a journey. But I also remember in that moment how disconnected I felt from myself. Like I was anxious, I was stressed, I was misunderstood by my partner. I felt like I was this controlling little girl that would need him to be with me, and that would force him to do activities with me and to be a part of my life, and it was like, that was not the energy that I wanted to be into. Like my heart craves connection because he truly wanted to connect with me, not because I'm forcing him. Like who wants to imagine if you're going someplace and you don't even really feel like it, you're just going to make the other person happy. Imagine if they knew that, like, this person is only here because I want them to be here. Doesn't that take away all the magic and the fun? Like I would never want someone to be in with me if they feel forced to be with me. I want people to come with me because they love me. They want to be around me. They appreciate this moment, and we create such a beautiful moment together. I don't need anybody to be there just because they're trying to please me. Like that is no longer the vibe at all. And I'm so happy that I was able to observe that, because in the beginning of my life, or in the beginning of my relationships, what I would want is I was just thinking about myself and my survival. And what my little girl needed was love, was safety from another man, from another person. And to be able to observe myself in that, and to realize I am safe by myself. I am safe as I continue to discover myself, as I continue to reconnect with myself and understand who I am beyond these fears and this codependent personality that actually started off as me as a child. You know, it really started off in my relationship with my family. And so this is deep, deep, deep work. And in that moment, coming back to the moment at IG in the grocery store, and I was just like, okay, yeah, he has a fucking point, because it hurt. I was like, oh my gosh, I wanted to strangle him in that moment. You know, I was so mad. I was like, you just told me my biggest truth and I couldn't see it, and that hurts. So thank you now 10 years ago for bringing that up. And I'm so grateful that he did. In those hard, what we consider toxic relationships, or the relationships that really, really trigger us, and toxic, I don't want to label anything, but just for the purpose of having a conversation, toxic relationships, these are actually the most transformative relationships of your life. I am so grateful for having an up and down relationship before in my past, because it has allowed me to see all the parts of myself that I did not want to see, and to also acknowledge what I did not want in a relationship. And what I do not want in a relationship, I had to not want within my own body and soul. So everything that we attract is a reflection of something that we hold within ourselves. And that is so deeply triggering to actually start acknowledging that. So when I was in relationships where I just felt like I was misunderstood, where I was not seen, where I was criticized, where I was blamed, where I was manipulative, I was actually just reflecting exactly what I was doing, either to myself or others. Like there was a part of me that was controlling. There was a part of me that didn't feel seen or that wasn't seeing my own self. There was a part of me that was manipulative just to have love in order to feel safe. There was so many parts of me that I was seeing in that person that was in front of me. And for me to do the work, I had to have this mirror. And it's a beautiful thing when you come out of it. Like, obviously, when you're in it, you're just like, what the fuck is going on? This is so hard. But when you come out of it on the other side and you realize, oh my gosh, all the work that I've had to do on myself in order to be who I am today is in part because of this relationship. And in that moment, you're able to forgive a lot more because you created this. And you forgive yourself for creating that because this is just your inner child that created that. And when we create those things, those relationships, those situations, we're just being asked to see it and then to do something about it, to change our lives and to change who we are. And I guess that's a part that a lot of people miss. And then they ask, why am I always attracting the same people? And I'm like, what are you attracting? What is within you for you to attract these type of men or these type of women? It's like you have to take a good look at yourself right now. So coming back to purpose, I realized I had no idea who I was. In that moment, I told myself, I'm going to need to know who I am. And that was deeply humbling in a 10-year experience. And it's going to be a life experience because we never are who we are like yesterday. I'm not the woman I was yesterday. I made some realizations yesterday that will change my life today. Today, I'm going to make some realizations that are going to change my life tomorrow. I'm always evolving. I'm always changing. And it's the beauty of being alive. It's like we're never the same. But the first thing to discover your purpose is to discover who you are. And by discovering who you are, you need to spend time with yourself in presence. And you need space. And that wasn't easy for me in the beginning. I did not want to be alone. I was so scared of myself, my thoughts, especially the thoughts that would come into my mind, the feelings of discomfort that would move through my body. There was so much there that just wanted to be heard, but I didn't have the courage to sit with it. And this is when I started discovering breathwork. Well, actually, how breathwork came into my life unexpectedly. I didn't go looking for breathwork. It just came through a workshop that I had signed up for that I had no idea what I was doing. I thought I was going to do yoga, and it ended up being breathwork, and it ended up changing my life. And so in those moments, or in these moments when I speak to you guys about that, I just, my wish is that maybe in this conversation, for those who are completely lost and who don't know who they are, to see this as a pivotal moment in your life of that moment at IGA for me where my partner was like, what do you like? I feel like you don't like any, you have no passions. And just take it as oh my gosh, in this conversation, if you feel like you have no idea who you are, you have no idea where you're going, you have no idea what your purpose is here on planet Earth, take this as that pivotal moment of your life of okay, now I am aware that I have no idea where I'm going or who I am. What am I going to do about that? And that's when the journey starts. And it's so exciting. So don't see it as I have no idea who I am. I'm this age. I'm this. I'm that. I all the thoughts that are going to continue making this even worse than it actually is. It's not, there's nothing bad about this. This is just a beautiful realization. And for me, the number one tip I want to give you guys to know who you are and to discover your purpose, because your purpose, we have such a beautiful, we put it on a pedestal. Oh, I want to do this or I want to do that. And we think that it's this big thing. But in reality, it can be I want to be a beautiful mom, or I want to take care of my family and make them beautiful food and just create such a homey vibe. This is the passion, the purpose I'm getting these days is I want to spend more time with my family. I want to cook them food. I want to have the space to cook food and to just cuddle in front of the fireplace and to just remember what it is in the simplest moments to appreciate life with the people I love. Like, this is what is coming up for me even more nowadays. Whereas if you would have spoken to me a year ago, I was like all focused on business. And I was like, I need to, I want to succeed in my business as an entrepreneur. I was not in the energy of making apple pies and stews and sitting in front of a fireplace. I was completely elsewhere. And that was part of the journey. And now it's like, I'm coming back to this, like, I want balance. I want to find myself, not find myself. I want to reconnect to the part of me that is slow, soft, nourishing, loving, nurturing. I want more of that. And then I also want the part of me that is sharing what I love and creating the business of my dreams, but I don't want to do that by neglecting the part of me that also wants to take care of my family and to take care of myself, So this is what I want to bring you guys into. If you don't know who you are, if you don't know what you want, the first step is to get to know yourself. And this was a step of me doing breath work and unraveling all the parts of myself that I had put on my heart in order to fit in order to please, in order to succeed, in order to be liked. And just feel who it is that I am before anybody told me who I should be. And one of the things that I started realizing on that journey is like, what did I used to love as a little girl? And I say this and emotions come up because it was so simple what I used to love as a little girl. I used to love making cabins in the woods with my cousins. I used to like giving dance shows to my parents and to an audience. I used to love being seen. I used to love just playing and drawing and daydreaming and having this space to just be a little child and laugh. I used to love laughing, and I still do. Dancing, oh my gosh. Like, these are things that just would light me up. I used to love skiing, just being outside. That was for me my connection to nature. And I was so disconnected from that, like living the typical society life of 9-to-5 job under fluorescent lights, coming back home, not seeing the sun. I used to love the beach. Oh my gosh. And like this, I'm saying used to, but these are all things that I still love, but these were things that I loved when I was a child, and traveling, going on adventures, just even make believe adventures where we would go out in the woods and try to find treasure chests. And like, this was the magic of being alive as a child. And I loved it, and I loved it, and I loved it. And I realized, oh my gosh, I don't have this magic anymore in my life. I'm just constantly doing, constantly controlling, constantly trying to feel safe in a world where I don't feel safe. And it was like, okay, can I sit with myself now? Can I breathe into those parts of myself and understand and remember who I am? And remember who I am. So if you don't know where you're going, if you don't know what your purpose is, there's like, take that absolutely out of the equation and just ask the question of, who am I? What lights me up? What makes me excited? And what makes me excited isn't the same as instant gratification. Try to see the difference between true happiness and peace and like this ego satisfaction. Because what would excite me is sometimes things that wouldn't be aligned for my happiness. For example, like excitement of going out to the bar. And, I realized that wasn't what I liked. That was what my ego liked. Like, once again, to please and to be seen at the bar and like flirted with and all that. Like, that was the ego part. But what I really loved about going to the bar was dancing. And that's me. Like, I still love to dance in my kitchen. I dance all the time. And so just making the difference between what does my soul and my heart love if no one could see me, if no one could like validate what it is that I do, and I just feel pleasure by doing this because I'm doing it, and just doing more of that and following that. And then also being curious, because When you become more present in your life and become more present with yourself, start noticing the people and the environments that lift you up, that give you energy, and that make you feel like you could do anything. So there's a difference in this. I'm going to bring back the bar story. Is like, I used to be so excited about going to the bar, and I was like, woohoo, a little tipsy, drunk, whatever, dancing. And then the next day I would feel so completely dead, and my energy would be so, so low. And I would just regret that I had to go through that and be here now. Like, that is not something that gives you energy. That is something that feeds the ego, because it's energy draining. Because the things that give you energy, they're not going to be taken away. You're going to come out of that event or that situation or that environment or out of with that person, and you're going to feel more connected. And sometimes that can mean crying. That can mean like going through things, going through emotions that are going to shed in order for you to be more connected with yourself. But you are going to feel like this is good, genuinely good for you. And that is the first step in following your purpose. If you have no idea what your purpose is, get to know yourself first. And do that through any practice, any situation, any environment that feels calling to you, that lights you up, that makes you curious, and you're like, oh, I really feel like doing it. Do it. Trust that pull in your heart when you're surrounded by people or environments that light you up, that make you feel like you could be anything in the world. Like when you're a child and people ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was like, a princess. I want to be a princess. And that was me. Surround yourself with people that make you feel like you could be a princess. And this sounds so childish, but it's like just the energy of anything is possible, Put yourself in environments, situations, with relationships where you feel like you could be anything you want. And then choose what lights you up again. Get to know yourself. Fall in love with your life again. And for me, that all started with breath work, because if you're disconnected from your body, if you're running away from your emotions, if you're constantly in a stress or survival mode, you're not going to know who you are. You're going to be so scared of discovering that person that is underneath all the things that you need to face in order to meet her again. So let that land and just see this as a new beginning. If you feel like this resonates, not like an ending. This is only the beginning of your journey, and this is beautiful. So a practical tip on how to integrate this into your life: start living your life. Start being present, start being connected to the body, and noticing what things light you up, what make you feel good and excited and happy and bubbly and like anything is possible. And then notice the environments that make you feel the exact opposite, that don't make you feel seen, that make you feel restricted, like you need to hide parts of yourself, like you're not accepted. Just notice. And then follow the things that light you up. And just trust that following that every single day of your life is what it is going to bring you closer and closer to your purpose. And that is going to change. So allow that to change. Allow that to change by being so present within yourself that every single day you can tweak, you can align, you can go this way instead of that way, because you're so connected to who you are, that the plan inside this rational mind of yours that is like, this is what I need to do in order to succeed, slowly dies, and the heart starts leading. And the heart starts taking the lead. And give yourself the grace to figure it out. Like, be gentle with yourself. You're going to mess up, and that's so okay. And messing up is just going to reorient you, like a GPS, like when you take the wrong turn, just going to take a little 2 minutes more, but you're still going to make it to where you're going, So don't be scared to mess up either. This is part of the journey, and this is part of learning and growing. The mess ups are the best part sometimes, because this is what puts us exactly right on the path. And we're like, okay, I'm going. I know where. And if you need help with that, feel free to reach out. Breathwork is the tool that helped me discover who I was in this whole journey, and it still is. It's beautiful. So if you feel like that could be a help, like you need support, know that it's totally normal to need support when we're feeling disconnected. and reach out. We're also going to Costa Rica in February. So we're going to be spending a week of reconnecting with ourselves in the most beautiful environments with the most beautiful people, and just creating a week of like, I have only me to take care of and only me to connect with, well, as well the other people. But it's just like, this is all about me. And everyone's coming in that energy of, I'm coming here to feel better and to connect to myself and therefore to others, because that's the thing about putting ourselves first. We think it's selfish. Like, this is all about me. Great. This is all about me. So that means that because this is all about me, I'm going to be able to connect so much more with my children, with my family, with my environment, with my purpose. So make it all about you again. Like, this isn't selfish. We need to do this in order to become better people for the people around us. So when I say this is all about me, I'm meaning 1 week where you don't have to take care of food. You don't have to take care of anyone but yourself. And that is going to bring so much beauty to your life. Trust that when we take these moments, it isn't selfish. It's like, it's needed. If your heart is craving this is good for not only you, but everyone around you. So we're going to Costa Rica. If you're interested in that, you can write to me. And that's it. I wish you guys a beautiful day, and I will see you next week on the Freya Podcast. Bye.